بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد، أحبتي في الله، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أسأل الله كريم رب العرش العظيم أن يتولنا في الدنيا والآخرة. أحبتي في Allah, is reported that Al-Fudayl bin Iyad rahmatullahi alayhi rahmatul wasiya stated, the believer speaks little and does a lot, whereas the hypocrite, the munafiq, speaks a lot and does little. When the believer speaks, it is with wisdom, and when he is silent, it is in deep thought. When he sees, he takes lessons, and when he acts, it is a cure. If this is the way you are, then you're in a constant state of worship. And this was collected by Abu Na'im in his Hilyat al-Awliya. Habati fillah, this athar of the Salaf, it shows us, it brings about immense benefit for us if we contemplate and reflect and we try to inculcate those traits within ourselves. So Fudayl, rahmatullahi alayhi, he mentioned, and we know the imama of Fudayl and his zuhud and some of his background from some of our lessons. This great imam of the Salaf Salih, Ridwanullahi alayhim, he says the believer speaks little and does a lot. So this is a trait of the mu'mineen, is that they don't busy themselves with idle, wasted speech, joking about falsehood, involving themselves in that which will bring no benefit and more than likely bring harm and sin. Whereas the hypocrite, on the other hand, speaks often, a lot. They've got to interject themselves, always in the conversation, always in the controversy, always in the travesty, and involve themselves, and they do very little good deeds. Because why? Because they may outwardly act, but inwardly they don't believe. So they're not motivated to do the issues, to practice that aspect of Iman, which is the actions of the heart and the actions of the physical actions. Whereas the believer, they do a lot of good deeds and they're speaking very little. And so when the believer speaks, it is with wisdom. And you'll find this a lot of times with the scholars of Ahl Sunnah, that you'll see that they're not excessively overly engaged in just false speech, but rather they are reserved, they contemplate, they reflect, even when they are being questioned, when people are asking them about issues of the deen, they reflect, they pause, they take a minute, and they contemplate and they analyze the nusus that they've memorized from the book and the sunnah, and then they adjudicate from there. They come up with an answer. So when the believer speaks, it's with hikmah, it's with wisdom. When he is silent, it is in deep thought. And you'll see this again, as I said, with a lot of the ulama. Sometimes they're not rushing to give you a fatwa or rushing to give you an answer, but rather you'll see that they're silent, and you'll see that they stop, and you see that they reflect. And those are the traits of the mu'mineen, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to ponder and reflect over the Quran. And when he sees, he takes lessons. This is also how you want to be. If you're reflective and you're pondering, you're going to benefit, even sometimes from your enemies, even sometimes from people who want to cause you harm, even sometimes from people who disbelieve. That the one who ponders and reflects, they ponder and reflect and they take lessons. They learn. Life is like a learning camp or a school for them. They pick up messages and they reflect, and it helps them in their practice of Islam. And when he acts, it's a cure, so that when they do good deeds, they're actually bringing about medicine for themselves and for others. If this is the way you are, then you are in constant worship of your Lord. And so that is a beautiful way that Al-Fudayl, rahmatullahi alayhi rahmatul wasiya, that he brought all this beautiful analysis and advice and introspect, or this way of reflection. He brought all of this together by letting us know that, hey, if you possess these traits, these are the traits of the people of good, and these are the traits of the people of Ubudiyya who worship and stay in the servitude and the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we ask that Allah Azza wa Jalla Almighty forgive us of our many sins and shortcomings and bless us all with ilm nafi, rizqan tayyib, wa amalan mutaqabbilan, wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad.